This is Latroy Turner. Yes, sir. Would you select 1111?
1111.
1111.
Angel number.
Okay, cool. And if you would like to take it from there.
Okay. All right, how you doing? First of all, namaste. When people greet you with namaste, if you're not sure exactly what that means, namaste is a way of saying that the God in me sees the God in you. Because we all come from the same place, we just got different vehicles, right? So I'm just acknowledging that the God in me sees the God in you, and that's namaste. Today, what we're going to be talking about is living a happy, healthy, holistic lifestyle. Right, so what does all that mean? Well, it means that in this existence, this thing that we get to enjoy called life, we actually have some samples of juice. You're more than welcome to come and grab some, please. So that way you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, help yourself. Absolutely no water, no sugar added. All right, so in this lifetime, you want to make sure that you're enjoying yourself. So that's one of the things about being happy. So if you're not healthy, you're not going to be happy. So being happy and healthy goes together. And there's a holistic way to achieve that goal, right? You don't have to go straight to the medication. You don't have to go straight to surgeries. You know, there's a safer way that's been around since thousands of years. And when you tap into it, you can actually heal yourself. So I'll go over some of that stuff.
Thank you.
And very also. All right, so you are what you drink, right? So you want to make sure that you're drinking the right thing. So in your lifetime, you're going to drink way more than you eat, right? Because you can't go to the grocery store and find anybody with a basket that don't have something to drink, right? So when you go to the grocery store, you're going to probably see three things. You're going to see something with some sugar. You're going to see something with some salt. You're going to see something with some caffeine, right? Those are all the things that we need. We're made of water, right? So we need water to survive. So because of that, we just drink what we can. Absolutely no sugar in there. 100% fresh, right? So we're made of that. So the stuff that we're drinking, it dictates how you show up, right? So for me, I'll use an example. So my background is a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, and then I became a group fitness coordinator, right? So I ran the gym off of 78 Crunch Gym, ran all these classes. So with all of that, when you're drinking 3 Red Bull a day like I was drinking, right? I was drinking 3 Red Bull a day, 2 on Sunday, right? And coffee, right? And coffee. Yeah, I'm lucky to be here, right? I'm lucky to be here. So with that, I was having spikes in my energy where there's sometimes I'll be energetic and right afterwards, I want to take a nap. You know, I'm ready to crash. So what you drink is going to affect exactly how you show up. Whether you're well rested or not, if you're taking in the wrong liquids, you're not going to show up as your best self. All right, these are some of the signs that you're probably dealing with from intaking too much sugar. You're going to probably have fatigue. You know, I definitely have that. You're going to have cravings where, you know, you just got to have that. For me, it's that 1905 ice cream, right? I just got to have it, and I have no portion control, right? So, you know, you got to figure that stuff out. You're going to have weight gain. You're going to have areas where you should be able to lose the weight, but you just like, why is this not going anywhere? Because it's the hydration, right? So if you're feeding your body all the macros, micros, all of that stuff, but you're coming back with the sugar, the salt, and the caffeine, you're undoing everything, right? So you got to take the whole approach, right? So we'll get more into that. These are the big 3, right? So like I said, we all come from the same place, so we all deal with some of these same issues, if not all 3, which is inflammation, circulation, and gut health, right? Those 3 things will affect how you show up. You know, you have a big presentation, but you ate an extra long chili cheese corny. I'll raise my hand, Sonic. That was my go-to. That was my go-to. You know, and you got to go DJ because I'm a DJ. Now, I gotta find the longest song in the world because I just ate the wrong thing. Right? So that matters. That matters. But we're gonna get into some solutions as we go along. Y'all having fun? Everything good? All right. This was me at my worst self. All right. This was me. I was drinking the Red Bulls. I was drinking alcohol. I was staying up late. You know, I wasn't eating right. I was getting those Route 44 grape slushes with the lime. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So I was doing all of those things, and then at my worst self, I was still telling people I was going to live to 103. Now, do you think that's possible? Welcome. Now I'm gonna say, grab you something to drink. We have fresh cold pressed juice on the table. Now, do you think this guy was going to see 103? This guy wasn't going to see 103. He would have been lucky to see 50 at the rate I was going. And that's what happened. I was in the middle of making bad choices, telling people I'm gonna live to 103, and I heard a voice. And the voice said something really, really simple. It said, "Not doing this." And I was like, whoa. Where did that come from? And I had to think about it. There's no way possible that I'm going to reach this goal doing the things that I was doing. So I wasn't in alignment, right? I wasn't in alignment. So that's one of the things you want to do. You want to make sure that whatever goal you have, you make sure that you put yourself in alignment with those goals. And that's how you obtain them a lot better. All right, so I had an awakening. My son graduated high school. I was fortunate that he went to UT and he had a diet major as a roommate. Lucky me, right? So he's up there, he's telling me about Terry Crews and intermittent fasting, and I'm like, what's that? Right? He said, well, Dad, you got to skip a meal. Skip a meal? Now, you're talking to a guy that was going up to Whataburger, getting the 2 taquitos with cheese, you know, medium fry and orange juice, right? You know, and you telling me to skip that meal? You know, the world tells you that, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Lies. Lies. Fuel is the most important fuel of the day, right? Because if you eat that breakfast, right, which is pretty much like a dessert, right? Because what do you have? Pancakes, butter, sugar. That's nothing different than a dessert, right? That you have a dessert in the morning and you just woke up, you hadn't exercised, right? And now you're filling yourself with this sugar bomb. That's going to be a sugar bomb later on. So I researched intermittent fasting, right? I was like, okay, let me try this, right? Let me try this. So that was in 2015, right? 2015. So I skipped a meal for about 6 years, right? But then I was like, there's something else. I was like, well, let me try this carnivore diet, right? Everyone heard about the carnivore diet? You only eat meat. No bread, no sides, just meat, right? Nothing else on it. I'm telling you right now, your grocery bill is pretty amazing. You just go in there and spend $7 for a pack of hamburger meat and you're done. That was cool. But my body was missing things, right? I was missing fruits and vegetables, all right? I was missing fruits and vegetables. So I'm like, well, how do I do that? I don't know how to cook fruits and vegetables. So with the intermittent fasting, what that does, when you skip that meal in the morning, right, you wake up fasted, you go through your activity, whether it's working out, preferably it's working out, and I'll tell you my philosophy on that later. Something, your hardest task, you want to do that first thing on an empty stomach. You're going to be a lot clearer in your thought. You're going to be able to focus, right? You're not going to be hungry. You're going to be able to focus, right? So once you get past that point, so say your last meal was 12 hours ago. You woke up, fasted, you went through your activities, you skipped that breakfast taco. Now at 11:30, 12 o'clock, you're not as hungry, you're not as tired, right? Because you didn't have that sugar bomb at 7:30, 6:30, you know, with that, you know, mocha latte and that C4 drink, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so I was like, oh, there's something to that. So your body starts figuring out where to find energy, right? So you want to miss that meal. And I'll give you a cheat code, right? So in the Bible, right, there's nowhere where you can find where anybody ate more than twice, right? Challenge me on this, right? So the Israelites, when they were walking in the wilderness, they was fed twice. Once in the morning, once in the evening. Elijah was fed by the ravens twice. Once in the morning, once in the evening. So there got to be something to it, right? So if you're consuming all this food, the function that your body was made to do never gets to do it because you're dealing with processing the food. So skipping a meal is not bad. It's actually good because now your body can start working on the other stuff that it needs to work on. And you want it to work on those other things. And I'll show you later. All right. So once again, back to my son. He had that smart roommate. And that roommate was also into meditation. I ain't know nothing about meditation. Too busy. I don't have time to sit still, right? So I'm like, how do I meditate? Right, so I Googled meditation. The first app that I used was Headspace. Right, Headspace, click on it, you close your eyes, 5 minutes, visualize, think. Okay, you're a little bit better. So the 5 minutes went to 10, 10 went to 15, 15 went to about 2 hours. Too long. You know, so now I have it down to about 45 minutes. My mom and dad are in the back. They pretty much know between 1:30 and 3:30, I'm probably meditating, you know. And the reason why you want to meditate is because that allows you to refocus and restructure your day. Because remember, you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, hint, hint, 5 at the latest, right? And you've been dealing with the day, boom, boom, boom. So you got to find time, once you've done everything within that section of time, say, you know what? Between here and here, the world is not going to fall apart. Let me shut down for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and visualize the next half of my day. What do I have to do? What demands do I have on myself? Who's demanding of me? Let me visualize that, right? See what that feels like. That's very, very important. So through visualization, through meditation, I started affirming things. So what you speak is just as important as what you eat and what you drink, right? Because most diseases, if not all diseases, come from what you drink, eat, or speak out of your mouth, right? So that's a cheat code. That's a cheat code. So in affirmations, you want to say simple stuff. So you don't have to complicate it. You know, I'm enough. You know, I'm enough. You know, I'm great. You know, you're not bragging, you're not being conceited. You're picking yourself up because if you can't be your own cheerleader, you can't expect to recruit others. All right? So all these were steps to get me to where I am right now. So through visualization, I started visualizing places I wanted to go. Right? I started trusting the visions that I was having and believing I could have those things. Right? So once again, ask, believe, receive. Everyone that asketh and believeth in your heart shows how they receive. Right? So believe you can have it, ask for it, and then wait for it. Right? Wait for it. So these are some of the things I did. I went to the Mayan ruin because I kept visualizing the Mayan ruins, and then I saw Star Wars and the big Star Wars thing. And I was like, you know, Empire Strikes Back, you know, where it was on there, and you could see the trees. Well, that was in Guatemala. That's actually the Mayan ruins. It's temple number 3. Temple number 3, when you sit on there, you can actually see the 3 indentions of that movie. Yeah, they filmed it right there. Climbed a volcano, roasted marshmallows, right? Had to throw up to Texas, right? Had to throw to Texas up, right? So that was a real big moment. So that made me start believing in some things. So now we get to fasting, right? So about two years ago, ran across the book of Daniel. You've heard about the Daniel fast, right? The Daniel fast where you just eat raw nuts, fruits, vegetables, nothing else for 21 days, right? So that came from the Bible. What happened, Daniel was in prison, challenged the guards to only feed him and his people fruits and vegetables for 10 days, right? He said that we will look better than the people eating the king's meat, which is what we eat every day. right? But at the end of the 10 days, that's exactly what happened. They were a lot stronger, they looked a lot better, a lot healthier. So that's where that Daniel fast came from today. Well, what happened to me was, I was like, well, fruits and vegetables. How do I get them? How do I get that? I want that, right? Because I want to be my best self. But I don't know how to cook those, right? Because when you're cooking some of those greens, you cook them at high heat, you're killing the nutrients that's in there, right? So how do you get them, right? You can't eat the recommended amount of greens, fruits, and vegetables that you're supposed to eat because your stomach is too small, right? So how do you get it, right? Juicing. Juicing is the answer. The reason why juicing is the answer is because, once again, you're made of liquid. You can't go too long without drinking something. You gotta have something to drink. And when you're drinking something, you're feeding the big three: sugar, salt, caffeine, right? And over time, as you get older, your body has a hard time processing those things. So when you're getting inflammation, you're getting circulation issues, you're getting acne, you're getting sleep problems, that's the hydration, right? You have to clean that up. You have to clean that up. So when you do, there's different fasts. You got 3-day fasts. You know, I always say start off with the 3-day. If you can't go straight to the 3-day, you know, go 16 hours. And you know what? I'm not going to eat for 16 hours. Let me see how that do. But during that time, you want to make sure that you keep yourself hydrated, right? And, you know, if for 3 days, I'd say water is okay, bone broth. But if you're going to go past that, you want to make sure that you're taking in something that's going to give you the nutrients that your body's going to need for you to show up. Because once again, everything we do in life is so that we can show up as our best self, right? So these are some examples. You got the 3-day, you got the 7, 14, 21, and 40. I've done all of those. Last year I completed a 40-day fast with just juice, raw nuts, vegetables, fruit, nothing cooked. Did that for 40 days on the juice, right? So I learned then that the stuff that we're having to eat, you don't have to eat that because your body has a way to tap into a fuel source you can't buy at the store. So when you start to starve the body from the things that's breaking it, it starts to do the things it was built to do, which is to repair you and keep you alive, right? So the more you abstain from the heavy foods, the processed foods, the body can start working on getting this out of you, getting the inflammation away from you. You know, believe it or not, I had asthma. You know, I couldn't run around the block, I'll tell you. Couldn't do it. You know, diet. Once I stripped everything away, figured out what was causing the stiffness in my back, you know, what was making the hamstring act up. Come on in, welcome. You know, what was making the hamstring act up, why I was so tired, it was the food. So when you go on a fast and you strip everything away, go back and introduce those things. Go back and introduce that extra long cheese corn. It's okay, but document how you felt afterwards, right? So I don't subscribe to diets. My meal consists of about 85% fruits and vegetables all day. I eat 1 meal a day. 2 meals every other day, right? So I eat for digestive peace. So that's the diet I would say you want to start to structure for yourself. And everybody's going to be different, right? Everybody processes things differently. So for your digestive peace, you want to say, okay, I ate this, I felt like this. All right, you want to keep feeling like that, keep eating it, right? But if you don't want to feel like that, it comes off the list. Right? It comes off the list. I don't want to feel like that no more. Because you want to enjoy this life without any pain. That's the whole thing. We want to have a good time. We want to do all those things. But what's the point of having all the money in the world, having all the influence in the world, if you have doctor's appointments Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that you have to go to keep yourself alive? What kind of quality of life is that? So, yes, it costs a little bit more to eat healthier. Yeah, it costs a little more to get that gym membership. But that's the price, not the cost. It's the difference, right? Price and cost is different. The price is what you pay with your money. The cost is what you pay for not doing it, right? Or doing it, right? So you got to ask yourself, what is the cost of me not having a gym membership? What is the cost of me not fasting away from the McDonald's at 11 o'clock at night because they're open? You know, what's the cost over time, right? So the coolest thing I learned in school was compound interest, right? The law of compounding. So most things, if not all, I'll always ask myself, what does it look like, right, if I continue to do this? So to let you know how important fasting is, it's mentioned 70 times in the Bible. 70. Now, if it was only mentioned once, I'd probably be like, it's probably not that important. I probably wouldn't look into that. It's probably a myth. But it's mentioned 70 times. So, you know, I say do your research. You know, do your research. But if you scroll down, Matthew 17:21, I say it's undefeated. And that's all things is cured by praying and fasting. Now, the gentleman at the bottom, Dr. Sebi, if you're not familiar with him, he's really big on fasting. He himself was cured by way of fasting. So there got to be something to it. There's got to be something to it. You know, my asthma is gone based off of diet change and fasting. I used to live with an inhaler in my pocket. I don't have one now. Right? I would like turn around to go get that inhaler. Right? So once you get away those allergies, all those things, they start to go away. And you'll start to notice that, whoa, I'm not eating and drinking and doing this anymore. And I'm not dealing with acid reflux no more. Whoa, that's where I got the acid reflux from, right? Go see your doctor, get your next checkup, start getting those pills removed, right? That's the goal. You want to be pill free. All right, so where did juicing come from for me, right? Juicing came from the Acosta Records. What are the Acosta Records? Some of you probably never heard of this. Well, it's a cosmic library in the sky that holds everything that ever was and ever is and ever will be, right? And when you vibrate at the right frequency, become the right person, you get access, right? So most, if not all, leaps in mankind has been through a divine intervention. Something that they couldn't explain, but they woke up with how to build this, how to do that, right? We all have the ability to tap into that. So through meditation, visualization, you can tap into how to become your better self. You can say, what do I need to do to become my better self? And the voice you're going to listen for is the little voice. It's the little faint voice. We've all heard it. Matter of fact, if you got 10 seconds, I'll give you an exercise. Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes. All right, in your head, count down from 10 to 1. Open your eyes when you're done. Y'all heard it, right? Y'all heard it? Y'all heard the voice, right? Count down from 10 to 1. Where is that? That's outside of yourself, right? So you tap into that to become your better self. So it's you versus you. Ask yourself, what is the perfect self, if I was perfect, doing right now in this moment? And I promise you, it's not what you're doing right now. Right? And it's little awareness of that. So I asked the question, where did I come from? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Right? For me, my question was, how do I get fruits and vegetables? I don't know how to cook them. You know, how do I get this? I know I need it. I'm reading that I need it. How do I do it? So through meditation, I ask these questions. And I got access. So when you get access, you'll know that you got access. How do you know? Well, I have a saying. You know how smart you are, right? But you also need to know how dumb you are as well. Meaning, you know what you know that you know that you know, right? When something happens in an area of your life that you know you didn't know, but it's working and performing as if you did, you have to give credit to something outside of yourself, right? And I'm sure you can think back in moments of your life where you've had that moment of clarity, like, whoa, that wasn't me. That was something else, right? That's because you asked. We're not always aware of that. So we're in the dream, within the dream, that you'll never remember. You'll never remember this life, right? You'll never remember it. But what you do within the dream will be remembered by those that shared it with you, right? So all things are possible. You can have the life that you want to live, and there's a way to get there. You know, as a DJ, before I DJ, I often go into meditation and I ask for all the DJs in the world, all the mixes in the world to come through me, access me so I can play good music. So far, so good. 23 years DJing, right? So what is the cost of record? Think Google. Think ChatGPT. But think bigger. Because those things was created by that. Right? So think about what you want. Think about what your dream body, your healthy self looks like. And listen for the information and execute on it. All right? So that's where juicing came from. So once I started juicing, I was hooked. I came out of the 21-day fast with the urge to buy a juicer. Went to Walmart, taking action. Went to Walmart, I didn't know what I was like, let me just grab this one, right? So I just grabbed the biggest one. Now I'm like, okay, what am I juicing? I don't know, right? So I say start off with fruits and vegetables that you like. And then challenge yourself to add some vegetables that you know you have not eaten, right, to your juice. See what it tastes like, and just build from there. And you can come up with a combination that works for your body. So one of the keys that juicing unlocks is the fact that it's medication before pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is basically synthesizing everything that was already done in nature. There's a fruit, a vegetable, a root, a herb that is designed to lower your cholesterol, help you with your A1C, raise your LDL, lower your HDL. There's stuff in nature already there. But once again, how do we consume it, right? You can't cook everything, right? So once again, juicing. So when you go into H-E-B, walk around, look at what's there. I'll give you a cheat code. Everything that God made, he made it to look like what it's good for. So when you open up a pomegranate, right, it looks like the chamber of a heart, right? It's good for your heart. It's great for circulation. So things that you're dealing with in your body, whether it's circulation, inflammation, or gut health, just Google, hey, what fruits and vegetables, I can intake to help me with this, right? Get yourself a juicer, put it together, thank me later. All right, so this is why you want to get through all of that stuff that I just talked about. This is what's inside. This is called mucoid plaque, right? This is the enemy. What's this is months, if not years, worth of food that didn't get processed because you ate again, and then you ate again, and then you ate again, right? And then you didn't exercise. You didn't detox. You just kept eating those things that tasted good and felt good, and you're wondering why my stomach is not down, why it's hard. It's hard because of this. Right? When you're getting sick, sicknesses, most diseases are mucus based, right? They live off of mucus. So you want to do things to expel all the mucus as much as you can out of your body. It's not natural to have a runny nose every day, right? That's the foods and drinks that you're intaking and your body's processing. You got to think of your body as a machine. Everything you put in, it has to process it. Right? If you put sugar in a tank, it has to process it, right? And what happens? The car breaks down. The engine breaks. You can't use it anymore. That's the result of processing something that it isn't supposed to have. Your body is no different. Your body is absolutely no different. So what you put in, it has to be processed. And whatever you're dealing with is the results of that processing. So when you go on a 3-day fast, you kind of get close to that, right? You got to go at least 7 to 10, right? Because what's going to happen on that 5th, 6th day, you know you haven't eaten anything, but you're still going to be going to the bathroom. I promise you, you're going to be going to the bathroom like you just ate a full buffet, right? That's because your body finally gets to get to the food that's just been sitting up in there. And once you get that out, you feel a whole lot better. All right, so after I went all through that, I was like, you know what? I may as well get certified, right? I may as well get something for my pain, right? So I went and got my fasting body composition certification. That unlocked this. I ended up being the group fitness instructor of the month. Had enough energy to do that finally. I had enough energy to help encourage and inspire others. One last note. CMOS. Buzzword going all over the internet. You probably heard all about it. Amazing. Amazing. If you can get the right CMOS, right? And yet sometimes you make that face too because it's nasty. It's very nasty. It smells horrible. But when properly prepared, it's the best thing on the planet. So science said that you're supposed to have 102 essential minerals and vitamins in your body in order to survive, right? In order to live. You're supposed to have these things. So most diseases come from being deficient in one of those areas, right? So my background is computers. I'm retired military computers, right? So I view the body as a program. And if that program is 0 to 102, right? Some of us been working just fine in the middle. Some of us got a little closer, and we've gotten by, right? So imagine when your body gets exactly what it's supposed to have. It's no different than your car. When you change up the gas from that 86 octane and you go up to the 92, it performs a lot better. When you change your oil, it performs a lot better, right? So what it does, it gives you 92 of those 102 essential minerals and vitamins. And it's just 2 tablespoons a day, right? So I suggest find a good CMOS provider, get you some CMOS, track how you feel, and I guarantee you'll feel a lot better because it's going to give you energy, it's going to deal with your gut health, and it's going to help you with your circulation as well. What's your why, right? You got to have a why, right? My why, I have a couple inner games, you know. We was given 120 years. So in Genesis 6:3, God said, man, I'm going to give you 120 years. That's it. That's the finish line, right? Right now, there's 720,000 centurions. That's people 100 or older, right? But super centurions are 110 and older, 270. It's a big drop, right? But people are living, right? So now you got to decide 120. That's the goal. That's the finish line. Reverse engineer that life backwards. How does that look? How does that feel? Right? Because you're not just living this life, you're feeling your life, right? Because you're a vibrational being, right? So we're vibrational, right? So that's why you have frequencies and all this other stuff. Having a human experience, right? So with that human experience comes with the things that we talked about. But you have to have a why, right? You have to have a why that when nobody is cheering you on, nobody is liking your post, it don't matter. You still get up. So for me, you got to have some non-negotiables, right? Non-negotiable for me is the gym. We wake up at 3, we're in the gym by 4, right? That's a non-negotiable. People say they're busy, don't have time. Between 3 and 6, there's nobody bothering you. There are no scam calls calling you at that time frame. Invest in your health. Ask yourself, can you neglect yourself? Can you neglect the people that depend on you the way that you neglected yourself? Probably not. Probably not. So you have to be a little selfish, right? So you can't show up from them if you're not showing up as your best self. So these practices and tips and tools that I gave is my hope that you know, you copy them because you know in school it's wrong to copy, but in life success leaves clues. So it's my hope that I'll left y'all some clues and some tools. And just a side note, be careful what you ask God, right? He's always listening, right? I was the only male Pilates instructor because I said one day I'm gonna teach Pilates. Well, I found myself in a hot room, 103 degrees, with 25 people expecting Pilates, right? I said one day I'll be a public speaker and I'm gonna be able to say certain things. Well, today was that day, and this next slide is that moment. And that's your TED Talk for today.
Thank you so much. I see 5, thank you, Lachlan.
Thank
I
you.
see 5 names, but 6 people.